I get,
Host.
yeah, I made you a co-host, so you should be all right. Here we go. Perfect. So we're recording and we're here. The image maker. The ideas contained in this chapter could very well be the breakthrough for you. Because image making, once we get a firm grip on it, is a truly dynamic idea. I was speaking in Ohio a number of years ago to a large group of business people when an elderly gentleman in the audience suddenly stopped me as I was explaining the image making concept. He stood up and informed the audience that he was 65 years of age before he understood this idea. He mentioned that he had read about it, thought about it, and even talked about it, but he never really understood it until he was 65 years old. I want to suggest right at this moment that you read this chapter over a few times because most people live and die and never fully understand the power of image making. Understand that we are relating this idea to money in this book. But I want you to know that once you fully understand the image making concept, you can effectively use it for whatever good you desire. I'm not able to tell you the exact date in which I myself gained an understanding of image making, but I can tell you it has had a great impact on my life as any idea I have ever learned. The knowledge of image making eliminates competition from your life by moving you from the competitive plane to the creative plane. You will soon. Understand, therefore, that in truth, the only competition you will ever have is with you, with your own ignorance. The idea truly excites me. To be more accurate, I should probably say sharing this idea with you excites me because I know how it can improve every aspect of your life. I honestly love watching people grow or unfold as new ideas register in their consciousness. But before I delve into this idea, please understand that everyone is using the image making concept, and everyone always has. In fact, everything that has ever come into your life has come as a direct result of the image making process. Therefore, if you will only become aware of the results which you have obtained, you will realize you have already employed this great mental tool. Just take a look at the results most people obtain. Generally speaking, you could say it's quite obvious that when they make use of, yeah, I think my internet is slow. Just scroll up a bit. Here we go. When they make use of their image making ability, they almost always use it the wrong way. You are an image maker. Most religions teach that God is responsible for everything made in this world, and I would fully subscribe to this proposition. However, as co creators, human beings must bear responsibility for what God makes in their lives. The minister and the farmer. This is a beautiful story. Who would like to read this amazing story? I've read it before, so I want one of you to kind of volunteer and read it to us in nice, deep voice because this is huge.
I'll read it as deep a voice as I can. Okay.
Sounds good.
The Minister and the Farmer. A story I once heard illustrates this point exceedingly well. Many years ago, a minister was driving along a remote country road when he happened upon a very beautiful farm. The farm was kept in absolutely magnificent condition. The fences were well cared for, the crops were radiant green, and although the house was set back some distance from the road, it was abundantly clear that it had a clean, fresh coat of white paint on it. Well cultivated flower beds encircled the house and stretched all along both sides of the road, wide driveway leading to it from the road. In a neat row along both sides of the drive as well were straight lines of tall green poplar trees reaching up to a picturesque pale blue sky. The lawns surrounding the house were a deep, rich green, as well manicured as any putting green ever was. Indeed, the entire picture would have fit well on a postcard since it was absolutely breathtaking in its splendor. Then the minister looked off to his right to the other side of the road. Here the fields were plowed. The earth was the deepest black the minister had ever seen, and he was amazed at how the furrows had been plowed in such a way that they stretched out in rows as straight as clotheslines. Far off in the distance, the minister could see the farmer sitting up in his tractor. with a straw hat on the back of his head and clad in an old light blue pair of overalls. It appeared that the farmer was moving toward the road as he was plowing. Since the minister was in no particular hurry, he pulled his car over to the side of the road, got out of it, and walked toward the fence. When he reached it, he just stood still, enjoying the light breeze, the warm sunlight, and admiring the beauty of the farm and the farmer's ability to plow such straight furrows. As the farmer worked his way toward the road, he noticed the minister leaning against the fence. So he brought the tractor to a halt, climbed down from it, and slowly started to walk in the minister's direction. As the farmer got closer, the minister smiled, raised his arm, and saying, "My good man, God has certainly blessed you with a beautiful farm." The farmer stopped, pulled out an old red and white polka dot handkerchief from his pocket with his big scarred and calloused hands. He raised his arm and wiped the sweat from his sun-scorched brow, still not saying a word. Then he reached up with his other hand and gently took from his mouth the long piece of straw that had been bouncing, waving as he walked. He stood in silence for a moment, looking at the minister, and then he spoke with a slow, steady voice. He replied, "Yes, Reverend, you're right. God has blessed me with a beautiful farm, but I just wish you could have seen it when he had it all to himself."
Mhm.
Understand that images are mental pictures that are made from thoughts, and the magnificence of the mind lies in the fact that it can think. That is to say, it can tap into the thought and create whatever image it chooses. Now, play with your mind for a few minutes and become aware of how you can flash one picture or image after another on the screen of your mind. It is almost as if you were sitting inside your body at a giant, great theater, and you were the writer, producer, and director of this movie you were watching. In a wonderful book I read a number of years ago titled The Science of Getting Rich, one of our favorites, right? The author, Wallace C. Wattles, referred to this thinking stuff that permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the cosmos. It's true that thoughts are everywhere, and we can tap into this thinking stuff with our mind and form any image we choose. Now, become aware of this truth. Everything we do is preceded by an image. We think first in order to form an image, then we do the work. Building the first chair. Consider for a moment how the first chair was built. We did not always have chairs, you know. I suppose many years ago, when we first started to become civilized, someone became tired of sitting on the ground. Whoever this person was, he probably started to think and he began to see a picture in his mind. He probably saw himself sitting on a thing with his legs hanging down and his back leaning against something. This picture or idea appealed to him because he imagined it would be a more comfortable position in which to sit, certainly more comfortable than sitting on the ground with his knees shoved up under his chin. Since this picture appealed to the person thought about it often until a desire to have such a thing began to develop. The desire moved the person into action, and with the picture in his mind, he began to build something outside of himself in his physical world that was as close as possible a replica of the image he held in his mind. Once the thing was completed, the person sat on it. He let his legs hang and his back lean, and he found that it was good. He then called this thing a chair. The word chair is a symbol that has a corresponding image. When you see or hear the symbol chair, it triggers an image on the screen of your mind. From that day to this, others have been building images of more comfortable chairs. Chairs with padding, chairs that fold, and chairs that recline. Then someone got lonely sitting alone. The person began to think, and they built an image in their mind of a very long chair. They constructed that long chair, found it was good, and they called it a sofa. Need we continue? Someone got tired of sleeping under a tree, and they built an image of a roof over their head, and on we go. Out of the cave into a condominium. We have truly built the world we live in. Columbus imagined a new world, imaged a new world, and you and I are living in it. The Wright brothers imaged us being propelled through the air and introduced us to a new kingdom. Samuel Morse imaged himself interrupting the flow of energy through metallic wires and gave us the telegraph with the Morse code. Copernicus imagined multiplicity of worlds, and now we have been there. Through the years, history has recorded the results of great visionaries. In fact, everything ever accomplished was at first, and for a time, nothing more than an image held in the mind of the architect. Realize now that you too are the mental architect of your own destiny. Going to the movies. Consider this. Jack Nicklaus, the world famous golfer, explains he will not even pick up a club until he has a very clear image on the screen of his mind, showing exactly how the ball will fly through the air, how it will hit the ground, and where it will roll after it hits. Nicholas calls this going to the movies, and he's become so proficient at it that he's been known throughout the world. Fame and fortune are his for the asking. In a previous paragraph, I made reference to the statement by Wallace D. Wattles. There is a thought stuff that permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the cosmos. In truth, there's a thought stuff everywhere around you and within you. So become aware of this truth and tap into it now. Use it to form an image on the screen of your mind. See yourself already in possession of the amount of money you want to provide the things you need to. Need to live in the style you choose to live. Pass.
Thank you for reading, John.
Sure.
Who would like to read next?
I'll read.
Go for it.
Personal prosperity. You're using mental faculties that everyone has. They're exactly the same mental faculties used by Copernicus, Buddha, and Morse, whom we previously mentioned. You might have formed the habit of thinking that people like those just mentioned are different than you and I. But I want you to know the only difference between you and them, or anyone else, is only in appearance and accomplishments. We all live in different physical bodies, and we all use our inherent mental faculties in a different way. But our basic structure is fundamentally the same. I am well aware there are many professors and other professional people who will tell you what I have just said is a lot of nonsense. But disbelievers like these have always existed, and they are, in my opinion, little people. For all the truly great leaders are in complete agreement with what I have just explained about your equality with great people of the past and present. Even Jesus tried to tell the world as he was doing his great work some 2,000 years ago, that you too were capable of doing what he was doing. In fact, he even went a step further in saying, even greater things are you capable of. Believe him, he spoke the truth. The little people will say that is not what he meant. But let me assure you, it is exactly what Jesus meant. If you can see it and believe it, you can do it. Napoleon Hill spent almost his entire life studying 500 of the world's greatest achievers, and the essence of his exhaustive studies and writings is contained in his great book, Think and Grow Rich. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Not many people believe this, but the ones who do prove it to themselves. Why don't you prove it to yourself now? Just build the image of prosperity on the screen of your mind and watch what happens. Remember, though, regardless of how tough things get, you must continue to hold the picture of personal prosperity. You will very likely run up against a series of circumstances that will, for a time, almost have you convinced you are always actually going backwards. But persistence is the key. Continue to hold the picture of personal prosperity and understand that what is happening to you is what must happen to prepare you to receive the good you desire. Persistence. Napoleon Hill devoted an entire chapter in Think and Grow Rich to persistence. In that chapter, he said, there may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the character is to the quality of man what carbon is to steel. Hill also pointed out in another part of the same chapter that the only thing which separated Thomas Edison or Henry Ford from the rest of the people in the world was persistence. For both of these great men had an image, and they would not let anyone or anything dissuade them. They were persistent. One illuminated the world, the other put the world on wheels. Both were, of course, richly rewarded. In a previous chapter, we explained money as a reward for service rendered. These men provided a tremendous service to millions of individuals, and their reward was in direct proportion to the service rendered. So build your image of prosperity and be persistent. The way for your image to materialize will be shown to you. Who's next that wants to read? I'll pass.
Thank you. I think it was Lance. Lance, you want to read next?
Yeah, I read.
Go for it.
Persistent always pays. A number of years ago, John Canary, a friend and business partner of mine, was discussing his chapter on persistent with me. We both seems to be equally impressed with the importance of the quality, as well as with the necessity of a person having it. If they were to reach any worthwhile goal, after a time, and nearing the end of our discussion, we each agree we would read the chapter on persistence once every day for 40 days. I don't even have to ask John to find out if this exercise helped him. I know it did. And the exercise has most certainly benefits me on a numerous occasion. There is an interesting story concerning John Canary, which will be very appropriate to share with you here. Since, oops, here, I lost my thing here. I'm reading it from my book. Okay, let me switch over to you guys. Okay, after a time nearing the end of our discussion.
No, one paragraph down.
One paragraph down. There is an interesting story concerning John Canary, which will be very appropriate to share with you here, since it illustrated both the power of imagine as well as persistence. Although I had known John Canary for a couple of years and I had talked with him on many occasions, I certainly did not know him intimately as I do at the time of this writing. It is important that I bring this out here, as we will be referring back to it shortly. The incident I am about to relate took place in 1971. I was living in Chicago at that. Are we good? I was living in Chicago at that time and had just completed a speaking engagement in Edmonton, Alberta. When I returned to my room, there was a telephone message for me to call John Canary in Belleville, Ontario, Canada. I returned the call, and after a couple of minutes of small talk, John said it. John said it was rather important that he meet with me, as he had something he wanted to discuss, and he preferred not to go into it on the telephone. I asked John to wait while I look over my calendar. It was in the vernacular pocket tight. I was busy, to say the least. Almost every day, I have either a seminar or speaking engagement in a different city in North America. I was explaining to John and told him that although I would love to visit, I really didn't know when I could. John was persistent. So I said, listen, I am leaving Edmonton for Chicago tonight at midnight. To get to Chicago, I have to go through Toronto. I'll arrive there at 7 a.m. I'll have to change terminal, and I leave from the second terminal 1 hour and 50 minutes later. I'll be happy to talk to you then. Although I don't promise to be too alert after flying all night. It is also worth mentioning that John had to get up early enough to drive the 125 miles from Belleville to Toronto to meet my 7 a.m. arrival. I remember that all John said was, I'll be there. I'll be there. The next morning, I sat at the airport coffee shop and listening as John explained how he wanted to do what I was doing. He wanted to conduct seminar. He also explained that he was prepared to pay the price, whatever that might be. As I listening, it was like hearing a popular song on the radio. You keep hearing it over and over and over again. Almost every seminar I conduct, there is a man or woman in the seminar who want to do what I am doing. I've heard it all. I heard it in the Biloxi, Mississippi, but Montana, Los Angeles, New York, Moncton, and Montreal. It was an old tune. Now, here I was in Toronto with a friend who, as I have already mentioned, I did not know that well. And he was asking what he had to do. The same image which I had with all the others were flashing through my mind. I was remembering all the traveling and the fear of standing up and speaking in a large hotel ballroom crowded with people who wanted to get them who wanted to get them excited, but who were mentally putting you on a trial at the same time, thinking, does this guy know what he is talking about? It's a question. In many situations, such as a sales convention, you had 40 minutes from beginning to end in which to build rapport with few hundred strangers and get them excited about themselves. I can relate to that.
Hmm.
The year of staying up night, reading and studying, the year of learning by attempting seminar all over the continent, the year of working for next to nothing to prepare oneself to hold the attention of a group of people all day in a seminar, those were the image racing across my mind. It had taken me 11 years to get to that point.
Okay, Lance, just 1 second. So, Nancy, for the sake of time, we're going to skip the rest of the story and go to page 67, please. So, basically, this guy, right, he kept working hard, studying, doing everything he can to get it. So, hopefully, you can catch up on the story later if you've never read it. But let's go to page 67. Maybe just one paragraph before 67, where Paul Hudsey's name, 66, page 66, Paul Hudsey. Scroll down a bit, right there, Paul Hudsey. So yeah, there's only a page and a half, and then we'll
Paul
have Paul Hudsey. Yeah, go for it.
Paul Hatsey is, without question, one of the best examples you will ever find when it comes to the subject of building an image and the mind, and build an image and the mind, and then executing it. He has become a serious student of the mind, and I am happy to count him among my good friends. Understand this: you could be doing precisely what Paul Hutsey had been doing all those years. So if you are, then make up your mind right now to do what I have suggested you start doing. Start right where you are. Build the image of what you want, and then act as if you have already received it. Express somewhat differently. Act like the person you want to become. For as Goethe, of German philosopher, once wrote, before you can do something, you first must be something. As you finish the chapter, lay the book down and then become very relaxed. Let creative energy fill your consciousness and then mold it into an image of yourself as as much more abundant state of life. See yourself already in possession of what you previously only dream of. Become extremely conscious of the truth that your entire being is not only filled with, but also is surrounded by. The original substance all image are made of. So do not just keep reading page after page. What was that? Page after page of the book without acting on the suggestion which I have been giving you. And the introduction of this book, and then again, and the first chapter, we emphasize the fact that no amount of reading or memorizing will make you successful in life. It is the understanding and application of wise thought which count. Understanding and application are the key, which will unlock the door to a truly abundant life. It will be very tempting for you to flip from one page or idea to the next thinking, I know this, I know that. However, let me remind you, it makes no difference how accurately you can parrot back this concept. In fact, you might even be able to recite them verbatim, verbatim, verbatim. Nevertheless, if you are not witnessing the result in your own life of the good you desire, you simply do not understand the power and, in fact, the necessity of acting on these ideas. Therefore, make the time right now, this very minute, to build the image in your mind of yourself already in possession of prosperity. Write a brief description of your image on a card, carry it in your pocket, and read it every day, a number of times until the image fill your consciousness. Begin your writing statement with, I am so happy. I now see myself. I now see myself
Yeah.
with. This is your homework right there.
Awesome. So good. Woo!
Yeah, really, really
I
good.
mean, it's a very big emphasis on what to do, right? Be good to yourself. Treat yourself to the very best life has to offer. Remember, quality is not expensive, it's priceless. So, yeah,
Ooh.
that's awesome. If you can stop sharing, that'd be great. Thank you all for reading. So, let's reflect on what he said, what he shared with us, what we read. Where did that show up in your life? Like, where did that show up where you actually been doing it and something happened? If you want to show that example, or if you have a question on what we read, we can also do that. So, let's just take a deeper look on this image making process and what it takes. Like it's everybody thinks it's easy. If it was easy, everybody else would do it, right?
You know, the story about the farmer and the minister made me think about how
Mm.
God gave us our bodies, right? But it's
Yeah,
up to us to take care of it, just like the farm,
yeah,
you
that's
know.
right.
And then in my case, he gave me this business, was started out 10 years ago as a hobby with
Mm.
just my computer, the Excel program, and myself. And here it is 10 years later, and I have a team of about 20, and I have not been crunching numbers for a while. And then also, I was thinking about how we are co-creators with him, but how he's given us ideas because, for example, I live on the lakefront in Chicago, and certain areas on the lakeshore, they have these huge boulders, I mean, huge rocks. And sometimes they position them that they're actually creating a chair for us. All you have to do is just put your towel down. The other thing is that when you look at a tree, doesn't it look like an umbrella? You know, where the idea came from. And then something that he said here with persistence, and that you said the other day in one of your posts, Kamal, and I was hoping everybody would get it. And you said you have to study daily.
Daily.
And that is so serious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not hard. It's easy to do, but it's easy also to not do. Like I have many nights where it's freaking 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, I haven't read the chapter yet, and I just get on it and just read it. The other day I was on the deck and it's freaking dark. I put the lights on and I wanted to read it because I want to imprint this image. We have to study this to stay aware and keep fresh and be able to see what's the next action that's best for you and your family and your business and your wealth and health. That's what it takes. You gotta study. We all have the ability. Like we are born with it. We've just been programmed differently. We've been talked to differently. I had a very poor image of myself, and I'm changing all of that, right? So we all have that, within. That's why it's you were born rich. I love that story about the farmer, by the way. That is huge.
So, so
Yeah, John.
a couple things for me. First of all, it reminded me the difference between imaging and imagining.
Mm,
Imagining is, wouldn't it be nice if this happened, right? Imaging is holding that image of where you want to be.
yeah.
And that's exactly. Now, on a personal note, for me, this was really effective for me because, my brain training, we're always trying to improve it. I'm integrating
Yeah.
stuff here, integrating a lot of research, and, it changes the brain really, really fast. Only program that does that. And those changes now are permanent, but we're learning that after you do the intense brain training, if you take like 10 to 20 minutes to sit quietly, then that's when those changes solidify. I mean,
Hmm.
what I realized was after reading this, and I just picked up a new client. He's a PGA golfer. He's way on the low, right? But obviously, you want him to start winning. So when I work with him, I hopefully have one later tonight. We'll do the intense brain training, and in that 20 minutes of quietness, I'll have him imagine like Nicholas did, right? So
Hmm.
if we're imaging what we want to happen while the brain is solidifying those connections, it's even going to give them even more of a boost. So that was good timing for me to read this, what Jack Nicholson said.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta hold the image. I think I shared with you last time. Why do I have a solid piece of Bitcoin here? Right? Why do I have some silver here? Like I'm imagining what I want, but I need to help the image. You gotta feed it. It's gotta be
Right.
crystal clear, right? Why, we're very close to five properties. Like it's because I'm imagining it, I'm seeing it, and the offer is accepted. You see yourself shaking hands on the deal, whatever it is that you excite you. It could be the relationship. It could be that you're being asked out to go on a date. It doesn't matter. You just have to see yourself there. It's not just a mere of reading the words and parroting the words out. You got to live it. And what did he say his name was?
Well, that I looked up that John Kennedy guy.
Yeah.
He became a really famous motivational speaker.
Mm,
I mean,
Based,
John Canary.
John
yeah,
Canary.
Canary, yeah,
Yeah.
probably based on what Bob talked about him.
Yeah.
He really well known.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really good. He's really, really good. Actually, he was doing the same work, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
on his own way.
And yeah, John, that story about Jack Nicholas, about seeing himself like in a
Yeah.
movie, right? That's how he did it. That's how he went it. They actually trained themselves like that. I have the video with the inner class with Bob. We have several examples where people are imagining making a $5 million deal with Zuckerberg, with somebody at Apple. It's pretty cool shit, pretty cool stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I like how he brings Signs of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wallace, Think and Grow Rich. What else? I have a couple more points, but what else came to any one of you? Alan, maybe? What's
Well, it reminded me of when I think I shared that story about when I totaled my Tesla that I knew that I needed to get, I
Mm.
needed $39,000. It was just like, and I just held the vision of that. And literally, that is what the insurance company wrote me a check for.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would, I would not differ from it. I was just like, no, this is what I get to have this amount, and it
Hmm.
happened. So
Yeah.
and I know it was a miracle.
It's gonna feel like that, but you have to believe that you did the work.
Yeah.
You know, you were part of this creation of the process because you have to believe in your results and you got to take responsibility. If I say my results are not mine, it has to do with the company I worked for, with my parents raised me, the village I'm from. I'm not taking responsibility. So you have to take that responsibility. And many people will stay poor, will stay struggling because they look at themselves and say, "Well, I've been working hard. I went to school. I'm entitled." No, you're not. Guess what? You have to become really good. You have to pay the price way more than average to become above average. So give yourself credit and see yourself part of this creation process, right? The creative process is huge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all starts with mindset. That's my number one, always, where everything starts is with
Right.
our,
Can I
Yeah.
share a message? Can I share a message with Bob Proctor?
Yeah,
Says
Lance and then Stan. Go ahead, Lance.
I want to share a message Bob Proctor said about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You guys see the screen?
Oh, we're seeing it in 3D. Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see it. Now I'm seeing me.
Here we are with chapter number 3, the image maker. Do you know you are an image maker? That's right, you are. Now, we started off talking about me and money to feel comfortable with it. Then we suggested you figure out how much is enough. Now, you've got to build an image in your mind. You've got creative faculties. You're the only creature on the planet, so far as we know, that can literally take a power that flows into our consciousness and build an image of it. You want to build an image. You want to see yourself the way you really want to be. You see, the whole trick about winning is start where you want to end up. What do you want to be like? How do you want to dress? How do you want to talk? How do you want to meet and greet people? How do you want to live? You've got to get that image now. You don't wait until all the things are in place. You sit down, totally relax, and get your imagination to work and build a picture. See yourself the way you really want to be. Your exercise for today in this 6-minute program is to sit down and make a written description. You start out by writing, I am so happy and grateful now that I am, and you describe the person you really want to be, but it's in the present tense. Because I'm going to tell you something. You are a true image maker. That's right. Don't let somebody else build your image. You build your image. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Love that. Love that share.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lance, for sharing that. That's awesome.
Thank you. It was really good. Basically, come with the study.
Yeah, yeah, and then that's what I share with a couple of the people in the inner circle with the Bob videos where he explains all this. You were born rich. That's how I learned this, studying with Bob for the 8 months course on this one, and then 6 months with inner circle. So awesome. Yeah, share that video with us, Lance, please. Stan and
Okay.
then
Okay.
Rona. Stan, go
I,
ahead.
I'll share it.
Yeah. So I totally love this chapter, The Image Maker. I also read a guy by the name of um, he has kind of a different twist on this. And he says that when you say, I want something, you're expressing a gap between that thing and you. And so he references Bob Proctor and says he agrees with this chapter, but you should try and act as if the memory is already done. So he has a little twist on it where you say, I joyfully remember when that money came in. And you hold the image in your mind as if it was a memory, because it's easier uh, to hold on to something having been done than something you're desiring. Because if you say, I want $1 million, you're admitting that you don't have that, right? There's a gap between. But if you say, I'm so joyful, I remember when that $1 million came in, right? And hold that thought in your mind that it's um, a little tweak to Bob's
Mhm.
image maker concept. And I've been doing that just the last couple of days, having read this before us getting together. The other thing that I want to just share really, really briefly here is that, I do a lot of scripture work, right? And some of this stuff is literally in the Bible. Like there's a Mark chapter 12 says, whatever you stand praying, believing is already yours.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because when we did this chapter, the image maker, I'm like, does this have a religious context as well? There it was. Whatever you stand praying, believing is already yours. And I got goosebumps. Like, what is that? What is that?
Listen,
But the interesting thing though, I don't think most believers will say, nah, that's not how you should use the Bible. But I have a feeling that maybe we got this thing all wrong. Like, why would it be there? Whatever you stand praying, believing is already yours, right? And I think the believing part, Kamal, is where you talk about doing the work. Like, yeah,
yeah.
I did it, and I deserve this. And so I think it comes back to a lot of faith people have been told, um, have a what I call a worthiness gap. Like,
Mm.
am I really supposed to have that much money? And they feel bad, like, oh, because of that nonsense, money is the root, where it really doesn't say that. It says the love of is the root, right? But it is already there, and it's right in alignment with what Bob is teaching here. So I'm really, really grateful for this. And this is definitely a chapter to reread and reread and reread again.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Read it a few more times. I know we skipped a few pages, but please read it. Thank you, Stan, for the contribution. Rona, love to hear your voice. Good to see you again.
Oops, we can't hear you.
Yeah, there's an audio thing not coming through. No, not yet.
No.
No. Sign language. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Check if your mic is connected to some other device or something.
No.
Or
Your
maybe you
mic is
can
probably
put
to
it in,
your headset, or sometimes it's even if I have a little mic, sometimes to record, the audio goes to it. It's like, what's going on? All
or
right,
maybe
while
you
she
can put it
works
in
on
the
her
chat.
mic, yeah, put it in the chat too. Sure. While you do this, what I want you to do, right? Like, do the exercise, build that image, right? You got to build it, and you got to become a serious student. Like, I would not have not believed this as an engineer, as a scientist, listening to all this neuroscience stuff. But guess what? 8 years later, 9 years later, I'm healthier, I'm better, I'm faster, I'm wealthier, I'm stronger, I feel good. I want to do what I want to do, and I want you all to do the same. Rana, are you able to speak now? See? No, can't hear you.
Maybe
So,
Bluetooth, wrong Bluetooth connection.
yeah, yeah. So become a serious student. Come to the classes, rewind the classes, read the book. I mean, I'm not talking about you guys, but I have 138, 140 people in the community. Very few of them read. If you can't read 10, 15 minutes a day, you're not ready to make $100,000 a month, or not even 10,000 or five. It's that simple, right? Act like the person you want to become. Look like the person you want to become. You want to be that thing. You have to be it first, right? You have to be it first. Be something and do it in relaxed order. It doesn't need to be a hustle. It doesn't need to be a rush. Start trusting yourself on that intuition, on that inner guidance. That's going to come as you nurture and develop your higher side, your intuition, your memory, your perception, your reason, your will. When you raise your higher mental faculty, you're going to be able to do these things, and you're going to recognize the best thing about me creating things from nothing, from the image, was that once I was able to see it and kind of connecting the dots, because you're just going to have to do the work. You do the work for a while, and then the results will show up. Now, my last thing on this is results tell the truth. If your results are not showing up, there is a gap. Your job is to find where that gap is. You need a trainer, you need a sales consultant, you need a marketing thing, you need to study the book with somebody else. You need somebody to call you at 6 o'clock in the morning so you can go to the gym. I don't know what it is that you're missing. But if you're doing the work and not getting the results, is because you're stuck on the negative side. Oh, here we go. We got you now.
Ha! That's funny. Okay.
Ah! All right, I'll
Uh,
shut up. We'll let Rona speak.
Oh,
Go for it.
that makes it more important than
Yes, you are important.
so as I one, my book is coming out on June 30th. So
no.
you want a chapter that's kind of quirky about state of being and how to change who you are through
Yeah,
imagination. There you go. The
awesome.
other thing is, I guess with this chapter, yeah, people talk about imagination or image making, and they think of the big picture or what they want as the end result, but they don't actually think of the fact that it's the small moments that actually change that.
Mm,
So the fact is that imagination has to be done with consistency. So small actions throughout the day that reinforce to you, your brain, that that's who you are. Availability to see that within the world. So your perception has to change so that you can recognize that that state of being has changed and that what you want is already available to you. Responsiveness, once you see it, you act on it. And that's a trained skill set as well with your imagination. So if your image is strong enough, then you'll be more responsive. Reliability means every single day in any situation, even if you're washing your face in the bathroom, where you're reinforcing how you view yourself and who you are as that person and as having that result already happening. So you have to be reliable. And then the next thing is predictable.
mm.
So our mind and our body and our environments have to reinforce that that is who we are. And so those small changes have to be created with experiences and environments that reinforce it. And it doesn't have to be huge, but we also don't have to take a blind leap of faith because as an image maker, we're creating it in the small moments and it just emerges as a big moment later.
I love it. I love it. Can't wait for your book, for the shares, and definitely you can put it in the school group and share pictures on it, that kind of stuff, links, all good. You're a client, so you purchase something from me. That's usually how it works. So that is awesome. Yeah, you mean at the beginning, I'll give you my last thing on this. I did not believe any of it, but Bob said, "Do the work." I didn't care if you believe it or not. Do the work. Persist. Right? Imagine what he shared with us in this chapter: the persistence and the image. Put them together. You don't have to believe your goal at the beginning. Nobody believes the goal because if you believe it, you will have it. So just do the work, and the sky will clear. And am I crazy? Going around with a gold in my car, with a gold card in my pocket, and it's like kind of worn out. But I love this one because this is good. This is gonna happen. So, final words. Who else hasn't spoken? Sabrina, are you with us? Juwan, anything else? Anybody else needs support this week? And then we'll finish up. I think we're gonna put
Yeah,
the
lots of gems. Thank you so much, everyone.
yeah.
For me, when you said results tell, and if I'm not getting the result, there's something missing.
Mhm.
And if you're not getting the result, it means you're stuck on the negative. And I think I'm such a positive person, but then there's something there then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like I've been shifting lately,
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
I stay optimistic. I'm
You have
grateful
to
for
stay
you, and
optimistic. Yeah. Yeah. Stay the course. I know what you got to do. You got to do the work and find that thread. Like it's like you got to find the thing that's pulling you forward. Like what makes you go to the gym? What makes you read the chapter? Who's exciting you to do the thing? Find him, find her. It could be my work, could be somebody else. It doesn't matter. But you are on a great mission. I know what you're wanting to do. So the key is just keep going. And sometimes you got to tweak the plan, not the goal. Tweak the plan, not the goal. And we're gonna go over that stuff sometime this week on the 5 day challenge. So with that, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Be awesome.
Thank
Call your
you.
loved ones. And I know some of us have kids
happy
away and this
Father's
and
Day.
that. But love is good. Thank you, Nancy, for the support. Rona, good to see you. And Juan, take care. Take care. Take care.
So
Bye.
everybody.
Take care. Bye.